Alrighty, folks, welcome on back here this Wednesday, March 3rd, 3-3. That is this March 3rd. Welcome back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check. Make sure everybody can hear me loud and clear. Should be good to go across the board. I want to kind of move quick. We have class finishing up today, the Phase 3 stock course, the final trading session with Fausto himself. So get to see him trade this, at least perhaps a falling market into the afternoon. Great to see Lori, Jean, Kathleen, Michael, Taz, Kennedy. Great to see you all. Perfect. All right, so just in time. Workhorse finally just broke below 15 bucks. We were watching that just going into this meeting as well. So needless to be said, we've been watching Workhorse all across the last, week, across the last, God knows how many days at this point, really, really since last year from the beginning. So, with the news coming out at the postal office at the end of last week and everything else, just with earnings going into Monday, we've had our eye on this, all week. So most recently, we've been watching this as a short on the way down to 15. We were saying, look for a potential false breakdown, the first attempt. The first attempt, you could say right over here, the amount of volume that got filled off of 15 at first, it was a sign. It held over 15 after really nicely. And on the next test, the next break below 15, boom, get the short. So at least from that point, obviously heading into the afternoon, we'll put this on our watch list. Looks like it was kind of like holding a nice trend off of like highs pretty well. So wouldn't be surprised if you get a retracement here at first, then perhaps a breakdown further. But Workhorse easily enough we'll put on our watch list. Did anybody get the Workhorse short just as we started this meeting? I know that Norman was watching this, a few of us in the chat board. If you ended up getting filled on the short, perhaps using a stop limit order off 15, let me know. A quick 20, 25, 30 cents perhaps. Norman says he took his order out before it ended up breaking. Damn. All right. Well, hopefully there could be a lot more on the way down. And if not, it's just volatile enough. Perhaps you'd hope to see it bounce if it doesn't break lower. So either way, moving with the market, either way, breaking lower so far. So we'll focus on the way down first. Outside of Workhorse, though, we did have a lot going on heading into this meeting as well. We had the minutes meeting that just finished up, the Fed minutes meeting. It's just a whole bunch of stuff that you would figure them to say, just with the vaccine distribution kicking up, a lot of businesses are encouraged that they'll, be doing a lot better within the next 6 to 12 months. Alongside that, though, there was also some news regarding New York State. Now, I know that obviously a lot of us don't live in New York State and wouldn't mean a whole lot to us outside of, the airlines, but Cuomo ended up loosening the restrictions on travel. We're not here to talk about politics and opinions, at least on politicians, but nonetheless, we ended up seeing AAL make a nice push heading into the open. It popped once the news came out, though, heading into like 12 o'clock Eastern time. So this is the exact moment where we ended up seeing an extra kick in the airlines here. AAL, JetBlue a lot more so here. We ended up seeing break over 19 running up pretty well. Delta Airlines squeezed up pretty nicely heading into the afternoon. We did pretty well on that too. United, I guess, same thing. A little expensive. We didn't focus on this as much, but either way, now they're kind of pulling back with the markets heading into the afternoon after the news that came out, the press conference from Cuomo. Rightfully so, they moved up, but now they're dropping off with the market, especially as you can see the Dow is approaching its low heading into this afternoon here. So, the airlines I might just collectively just group together on our watch list, much like with Workhorse, just given the volatility altogether. I don't want to do that for every sector and for every stock otherwise, right? The cruise lines making a similar move on the way down didn't necessarily, make as big of a pop once that news came out from Cuomo today. But, outside of that, perhaps the EV stocks, NEO, XPEV, all these EV stocks, in terms of the volatility, right? With the falling market, you want to see some stocks that can move with the market here. NEO has been dropping off already from the morning and from yesterday too. So with this dropping into the afternoon right now, while we have it on the screen, I wouldn't mind slipping this on our list. Maybe look at a couple of other names like GM perhaps. Pretty expensive, but at the low of the day right now, dropping off with the market, and this one already lower. Nikola, how about Nikola? We haven't seen that this week at least yet. And KLA. This one's shortable. It's down over 5% at the lows right now. I might just slip on NEO and Nikola just for the hell of it. We're familiar with both, and especially this Nikola trade as a short, moderately priced. And one more before I just go right from top to bottom here, because we're seeing a lot of stocks dropping, and there was one that was dropping from earlier. It's not an EV company, it's not an airline or a cruise line, relatively new SPAC, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe Clove is a special purpose acquisition company. We ended up seeing them make a huge pop going into the end of last year, then dumped off going into this year, and breaking all-time lows. We saw this going into yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I made the comment just at the time that they were shortable then, shortable still on TradeStation. They're still able to get shares, at least for now. And, at least for what it's worth, from where we called it out, it's only been dropping further from 850. Fantastic short once it broke lower from the major support at the time, at least at 850. Seemingly it's on the way down to the next support at 8. So I wouldn't mind slipping Clove on our watch list, just given the all-time lows right now. It is shortable if it keeps going. If it's not going to break any lower, perhaps, and if we see the markets move up, then perhaps this could make for a DCB, a dead cat bounce, so to say. I wouldn't necessarily hold your breath expecting that. But, for right now, just given the volatility, Clove, I mean, why not put this on our main watch list? Norman says AMC 220K order on the bid at 850. So, I love AMC, or at least more so than not. One day last week, it kicked my butt. As a short, maybe, but it's just slow. You figure that could be a low risk level 1. It just looks a little choppy. I'd rather look at Clove at least heading into the afternoon, even a Nikola. Maybe I'll come back to this if it shows more action, more movement, perhaps going down to 850. All right. From RJF here on YouTube. I'm going to jump over to YouTube right now. He's asking, anyone else's system running really slow right now? Well, I'll tell you, first thing, RJ, and I should have said this from the top, I'd like to apologize for all of us on social media yesterday. In tech issue yesterday, I was in the office in Long Island. I wasn't able to get the stream up and running from there in time. So that was simply the reason why I wasn't streaming yesterday afternoon at this time. But, even this morning, there was an issue with my remote log me in program. I know that doesn't have to do with a trading platform, but overall, there were huge tech issues today. I know Fausto's internet at his house crapped out on him during the class that he was teaching. So one thing after another, RJF. That's pretty much all I have to say there. Actually, out of everything, God bless. I'm going to knock on wood, cross my fingers and toes as I say this, but my platform has been smooth sailing this whole day. Not a single issue on my platform so far today. I'm going to jinx the crap out of myself. Watch. All right. So AMC will come back to perhaps. RJF, he's also calling out actually the KMPH pop before we jump from top to bottom here. See, RJF, this is your type of trade. You got to join us in our trading room because we always talk about this here in this meeting. This thing is going to dump right back down. It ended up kind of popping in pre-market, pulled back. This is the exact type of trade I see you call out. And oftentimes I say it makes a little wiggle up here a little bit, but then it dumps back down right away after. We've seen this happen time in and time out. Matthew says here in our trading room, as I start from the top of the gainers list, just cracked a cold beer. Let's trade. Matthew, what beer? That's the more important question. You got to give us a name. I wish I was able to do that right now, but I think I could wait probably an extra hour and a half. That's fine by me. I know Fausto's listening. No, I'm kidding. I do not drink on the job anyway. All right, he says chorus. There you go. All right. It's bread and butter, perhaps. Let's go right from top to bottom. I've been doing that already. A bunch of crap to begin with already here so far. VRTV. We're not going to trade it. Crazy spread. Lack of volume on the order book, but pretty interesting move. I don't know if that's another SPAC company, but popped up and down all over the place. So that's pretty volatile with this OVID. Oh, man. All right, so I had a pretty rough morning. My afternoon, I really kicked things up in the afternoon or at least the late morning. This OCGN trade, which would probably jump to in a moment anyway, I did a lot better on this trade from the morning heading into the afternoon as a short as it dropped off. But this OVID trade took my breakfast and lunch money here. I was expecting a squeeze up on this trade, and it just wouldn't give me the opportunity. I kept taking these like anywhere between 4, 5, 8 cent losses at times here. It kept breaking lower, so I stayed away from it. But I was looking for a move later on off of 4, and I just went scratch. Just went nowhere. And right now, it's starting to make that little push. And again, like I said before, I'm not going to hold my breath on this trade, if anything. I say that to myself more than I say that to you folks actually right now. But otherwise, maybe we'll come back to it if it ends up making some sort of wacky pop-up. But again, I'm going to keep pushing for now. Super League Gaming here. SLGG made a nice squeeze up heading into the market open, dumped off after. Ended up making its second run up, right? Pushed all the way up towards just about 580, 590-ish, and then dumped off from there. So got to figure that was expected. Michaels got bought out. You just see based on the flat line there. But the news was out. Apollo Global Management, something, they ended up doing it at 22 per share cash. Ooh, CPE, nice pop here. $32 stock. Spread's a little open, but probably more of like a level 3 to level 4 trade. What's the news on this? Petroleum stock. Several oil companies trading higher ahead of Thursday's OPEC meeting. All right, so that should be pretty important. Otherwise, I mean, you can already see this one at least moving up pretty nicely. So if that's the case, then take a good look at our Fernoxy here. So this one's not nearly making as sharp of a squeeze up, or at least from morning to now. I mean, it's pretty volatile now. It dumped off, spiking back up a little bit here. But that CPE stock looks way stronger in its trend right now. Maybe I'd put both on. Check out Apache. It's an oil company, I believe. I don't know if that's petroleum. All right, so definitely for right now, the CPE I'll put on the list. Maybe Oxy. I know Oxy's petroleum company. So looks like a bunch of oil companies trading higher ahead of Thursday's OPEC meeting. All right, let's see what else we got. SOS ended up coming out with more news this morning, at least. Let me just jump to that on Benzinga Pro. So, actually, there's a whole bunch of stuff out here. So I'll be pretty brief with this, more or less. But essentially, there was an article that came out, I guess, regarding a bullish sentiment on SOS. And along with that, I think it was pharma news that came out at the same time, too. There's pharma news, I thought, and then alongside that, oh my goodness. All right. So let me try and do this from top to bottom in as short amount of time as I can. Friday afternoon, there was a report that came out that Hindenburg Research issued a short report and set a $0 price target. This was just back on Friday. Obviously, the stock's been making a huge move across the last month, so I'm assuming that started off of pharma news. Not going to scroll back that far. But heading into this week, then we ended up seeing that report be a little bit rubbish, so to say. Ended up making a nice push up going into Monday, pulled back Tuesday, and then here we are now. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Scorpio Venture Capitalists report on SOS suggests a potential stock company that has been maliciously shorted. It notes the Hindenburg Research that they're short on the stock currently. So it's basically this VC company saying that they just think it's BS. So we ended up seeing that come out pretty much right around 11:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. And since, on the way up. And I think this VC company also, in comparison to the Hindenburg $0 price target, this Scorpio VC company issued a $40 price target. Who's going to be right or wrong? So if you're looking at the trend here, since obviously this thing's taken off, for what goes up, it comes down. But we were going to watch this heading into the close anyway, for as much as it dumped off, given the volatility. I don't know if this is going to keep breaking higher into this afternoon, maybe tomorrow. If not tomorrow, perhaps Friday. Don't hold me to that either way, but it's just to say, given the volatility, should that report be more right in terms of Scorpio's price target 40? That's pretty damn far away from where it's at even right now at $8.28. So given that, that's definitely one I want to keep an eye on. So this spike back over 8, hopefully this is the beginning of a new run back up. But again, if it doesn't happen today, don't be surprised if it happens later on this week. And if it tanks, then get the hell out. You don't want to hold on to that thing if it ends up dumping back down below 8 here. This thing's been like through the spin cycle on the daily chart since mid-Feb. This TRXC was a dud today, unfortunately. Actually, it was a pretty good trade if you were short. I was not short on this trade from earlier today, so didn't pay for me. But I guess in terms of tradability, it was a good short. If you were looking for the pop, you got it after the open, but that was it. CDEV, I thought, oh no, we put CPE. I'm getting my stocks twist up here. CDEV here, CDEV though here, pushing up pretty nicely. New high of the day, trading about 30 to 35,000 shares per minute in volume. Good spreads, good liquidity, needless to be said. Looks like resource development company. I don't know what they do. Maybe they're tied in with the oil. I don't know. All right, well, either way, good stock. I like this. More of like a level 1 to 2 trade, I'd say, in terms of volatility. Here's the Oxygen trade. It's just pretty exhausted now, I think, at this point. So I was going to get to this. We ended up doing pretty well in this trade. I didn't do as well on the long. I did pretty good on the short. I was too busy wasting my time from 9:30 to 10 o'clock on the OVID stock. But once I saw this made a lower high, I ended up jumping in this. I think my entry was at 12:29 or 12:30-ish off the break here. Ended up dropping down. I wish I could say I held on all the way here. I ended up still picking up just about 40 to 50 cents and then another like 20 to 30 on the way down. I missed this break here at least. I wish I could say I got that. Yeah, for right now, though, trading 167 million shares. It's a lot for any stock, including this. This stock's traded over 700 million shares dating back to early Feb here. But since that time, it dropped off quite a bit. So, since then, this is still a lot. So just overall, I'm saying this stock is pretty exhausted. I don't know if we would expect a clean move on this up or down heading into the final hour. QD here, familiar name. Just wanted to check it out. Pretty flat, but did make a nice pop heading into the late morning. Oh, I saw a lift push up pretty nicely. Fausto is watching this heading into the mid to late morning, pushing up pretty nicely during class from basically like 58-ish all the way up towards 63.50. So in terms of volatility, don't get me wrong, you could add this to the list, but pretty expensive. It's not making as clean of a trend right now otherwise. Got Alcoa Corp, pretty familiar name, at least for a couple of us. Not much going on there. All right, we'll hop over to losers list, folks. If there's anything that's up, that's up big, making a big pop or, move right now off news, let me know. With the market the way it is right now, I don't think we'd find much up or down a whole lot in terms of a name brand outside of, well, perhaps this one here, number 4. I want to talk about this quick. The RKT, for what went up, sure went down. Jeez. I don't know if there was any extra news on this trade outside of just, the pump from yesterday, but we ended up seeing this thing just drop off early in pre-market. You figured that was going to happen. But perhaps to see this at least make a small little move back up before like a complete dump off, and even to say you wouldn't expect this to completely dump off anyway. If it does pull back, you wouldn't expect it to drop all the way down towards essentially above its opening price. Open price was right off 27.34, low of the day today, 28.11. Obviously, little gap there, but from where it dropped off from, that's pretty close. You don't normally expect to see a stock like this, like more of a name brand company, not like a small cap, pharma company, make this complete dump back down the next day. So pretty interesting. Nonetheless, though, RKT, pretty similar to the OCGN, 160 million shares traded across the day. I was thinking for like reasons to put this on the list, the volatility, but I just think pretty exhausted otherwise. SND, not much going on there, I guess, near the lows. XXII, same thing. A bunch of stuff hard to borrow otherwise here, folks. GSX, pretty expensive, but we've seen this stock in the past make some like huge moves, including today. Got killed today from like 98 all the way down to 83. I wouldn't even say it's heavily traded compared to its average here across the 50 days. Just pretty much right there. Just no trend right now and pretty expensive otherwise. All right, folks, if there's anything up, down, left, right, more than like 5% making a big pop or drop right now off of news, certainly let me know here in the chat boards. I don't know if this is an old alert or a new alert. PLTR low of the day. I think old alert here, yeah. Right from 230, it broke lower, but spiking back up. Tradable stock. We love PLTR, Palantir. I mean, either way is the long or short. Just not really too much to write home about right now on that one. The CDEV already on our list, just getting an alert from Benzinga Pro, high of the day on that. So that one's still going pretty nicely. John D asking, what the hell happened to DraftKings? Let's jump to that pretty quick. And I will take a look at the news for this if there's any. Just taking a look here. So DraftKings trading higher. This is back from 9 in the morning after the company announced an agreement with Dish Network to bring DraftKings Sportsbook and daily fantasy experiences on the Dish TV Hopper platform. Sounds good. Investor Day coming up on March 9th. All right. I don't really know. You got a report here right at 2:30 from Kathy Woods saying that sports betting is losing its taint. DraftKings is becoming a platform for sports betting. Blah, blah, blah. Sounds good. Yeah, so it might just be dropping off at the market. It broke all-time highs, like 2 days ago? So could be natural profit taking. Otherwise, I wouldn't be too worried about it long-term. That's for sure. Sports betting only becoming more and more relevant, popular. DraftKings is, the leader, if not top 2. So, yeah. SOS popping back up right now. So that's already on our watch list given the volatility. So we'll see if that can make a clean move off 850. If not now, then perhaps in about 10, 15 minutes. Maybe expect a false breakout here first. John S. says above that, Apache Oil APA, he watched it for years. Yeah, that was a stock back during the, just 1 year ago, 365 days ago, practically. Right? Hell, March 6th, here we are. We're just about a year out from this big drop. So we ended up trading Apache with Oxy and all the other, gas companies at the time, oil companies. I remember WLL, Bohr, OAS, Oasis. Those were other companies we traded back then too. All right, let me jump back to YouTube right now. I'm sorry. And actually above Oscar, who asked about SOS. What do you think? Can KMPH get to 20 a share? So I don't know long term. I don't know about the company fundamentals or anything that it does. So I really can't answer that. I don't like saying that I don't know the answer to a question, but that's what I can say. We're day traders. So in terms of the volatility today, we're not as likely to watch this stock for the final hour today. I don't know anything about the company news-wise or, finance-wise, so I wouldn't be the best person to ask that. I'm sorry. Jeff says, drugs and gambling becoming legal everywhere. Capone would be so sad. That's a good line. I like that, Jeff. That's funny. All right, I got to scroll from bottom to top here. I apologize. A couple more of us. Matthew asking about Riot, which actually led me to this, and I appreciate Matthew at least typing that in the chat board, because I commented earlier today inside the trading room. I said this verbally. I said, if Riot's down at the end of the day today, when I do the afternoon meeting, I'm going to put it on our watch list, anticipating a move up. Because Riot typically does not make a good afternoon move. And when I say that, I mean that in terms of the direction that it's pretty much in from the morning. So the stock was dropping all from the day today, and it's already been bouncing from 49. So maybe we're slightly late, but hopefully not too late. So Riot, I actually will slip on our watch list right now there, Matt. Good call. And then from Kennedy asking about the POW. And actually really quick, when I talk about Riot and an afternoon move up, I feel a lot more safe saying that when Riot's down actually like a net percentage of 5, 10, 15%. We saw that back from yesterday. So it's, up 2% today from the close. So still up comparative to yesterday. But from where it dropped off from this morning, we're starting to see a bounce so far. And it wouldn't shock me to see a bit more later on. Just keep a good eye on Bitcoin. POWs. This has got nothing right now, Kennedy. I apologize. Nothing really happening here. Trading a little volume per minute right there, so not really too keen on that. UWMC, that one, I think it's the W and the M that are next to each other, Joe, that tripped me up. My trader's dyslexia, like the flip-flop of the letter. UWMC, every time I say that, I trip myself up. Try saying that 3 times fast. Squeezing up a little bit, but, again, for what it's worth, it dropped off so much from this morning. You could say, given the volatility from this morning, the range, it can make a move. But prior to yesterday, this stock was trading an average of 7 million shares a day, which is very tradable by all measures from us. Seeing a stock trade 5, 7 million shares, that's super healthy. That's not little at all. But between yesterday trading 30 plus million or 40 plus mil, and then today like 86 million, it just leads me to say this for right now is more likely to be exhausted. If I'm wrong, because otherwise, just given from the morning, then perhaps if it breaks above 10 cleanly, you get a 30-cent move up, 50-cent move up. If it, snaps below 10 after, maybe it could drop back down a 50-cent move. So in that case, if that's what you're looking for, perhaps, and if you did well on it from this morning, I wouldn't be surprised if you put it on your main list, right? I'd probably be more interested in this trade for tomorrow, though, and Friday. Alrighty, folks, I think that just about wraps things up, though. And with that, actually, let me just jump to the airlines while I'm at it, because I did group them together. So I'm like, let me just check in with them before I finish up, just because I don't want them to dud out as well, and for this to just be like watching the grass grow. So it seems like since the meeting, or since I started the meeting, it looks like AAL at least have made a nice little bounce back up. It's trying to wiggle back up there. I guess for the meantime, I'll keep them on. I do like the Nikola trades a lot more. I like Workhorse as a great trade as a short. Ended up, making that squeeze back up. It moved up to 15 and pulled back down. So the hope now is to see this begin to snap down from perhaps 1470 and move down to 1450. All right, folks, outside of this list, though, if there's anything else that pops up on a radar in the next 15 to 30 minutes more so, we'll look to call it out. Outside of that, I know that Rich posted the link for all of us in the trading room for class, Fausto's Phase 3, live trading session. So for all of us in class or all of us in the trading room, make sure that you click the link to join class. For all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, make sure that you folks look to like, subscribe, notify us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. Otherwise, go right to the link below on the banner just to make sure that you join us here for the market close. All right, folks, talk to you soon. Take care.